Hi everyone, it is Kristen from Final Sight. Now, amid COVID-19 and everything that is going on in the world right now, we're hearing a lot of questions coming from schools asking, what should we be talking about on social media? What should we be posting on our website? Things like that. And so today we're going to go live with Sarah and Darian, two of our experts in the matter of social media and PPC. So we're going to bring them on just to have a quick Q&A, and we will also save some time at the end to answer any questions that you may have on the topics that we'll be talking about today. So I'm so glad you're joining us. I see some people joining in on the stream now. I'm going to first add in Darian so we can talk about social media. So just give me one moment as I add her to the stream here. Hi, Darian.
Hey, Kristen.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Pretty good. I think we're all officially working from home now, so if anyone else is joining us from home and is curious about anything like that, we can talk about that topic as well. But I know, Darian, we're going to talk about social media today, and I know you joined us last Friday for a different live session talking about things you can post on social media, talking about advertising. So I guess I'll just, give the floor to you, and if there are any best practices you'd want to share, we can talk through them.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to kind of take it away. So like Kristen said, we talked about this a little last week, so some of you might be familiar with some of the recommendations I'm going to make, but I essentially just want to recap kind of what you should be doing when it comes to social media advertising right now, in light of everything that's going on. So I think most importantly right now, our recommendation is that you do not have to stop all advertising. One of the biggest things right now is that a lot of parents are still at home, still trying to plan for next year and hoping for the best. So it's really a good opportunity for your school to be present on social where they're spending a lot of their time, and keep that messaging going out so that one, they're reassured by your presence, that you have a positive look on next year and that you're still planning to tackle the next academic year in full force, hopefully. So I definitely would recommend leaving your ads running. One thing to keep in mind is that if you do have a lot of ads that are active right now, you might want to give everything you have going on a once-over. So make sure you're not including any CTAs about visiting campus, about scheduling tours, anything along those lines. Obviously, a lot of campuses are closing down, and even without that, most places are exercising social distancing.
Those are all really great recommendations, and I know one thing definitely that so many schools are adjusting to now, like you had said, no one can really physically go to campus, so they are opening up more virtual tour options and things like that. So I'm not sure if you've seen anything in terms of advertising come through there, or if there's anything you would recommend if you did want to promote kind of a virtual tour or anything like that.
Yeah, I would say we've seen a lot of schools the past few weeks finding unique ways to tap into their virtual tours like that. So if you do have an extensive one built out, now's the perfect time to capitalize on that. Encourage parents to get that on-campus experience without actually having to leave their houses. Along with that, most schools have a YouTube channel that has at least 1 or 2 videos that highlight your campus, different features on campus, even just the scenery around campus. So I definitely recommend digging back in the archives if you haven't made a new one recently, and even pulling out a throwback or one from 2 to 3 years ago that still reflects your campus very nicely, and using that for advertising. So even if it's not the most up-to-date, perfect 2020 version of a video that you might run, it's still a good time to consider leveraging that so that parents can at least get that visual connection with your campus.
Again, really great points, and I think it's definitely useful. So many of us are scrambling, and I know schools are really questioning what they should be doing right now. So I think that that's all really great, and thank you for sharing. I think now we can also open up the floor if you are watching right now and have any questions for Darian in terms of your social media advertising, or even just organic, best practices. We'll chat for a little bit longer, and you can feel free to throw those questions in. Yeah, so I think, is there anything else? I know you went through a lot here, so I don't know if there's anything else just in terms of general best practices that you would recommend during this time.
Maybe not best practices, but just some additional ideas building off of our last question. I think we focus a lot on video assets and, the virtual tour type of mindset, but something else you consider too is Like what type of photo assets do you have available of campus, of your admissions staff, of your team? Like how can you leverage those photos that you have and maybe using in other places to build more of that personal connection? So maybe you don't have a video of a virtual tour or showing off your campus, but maybe you have 10 really great photos of different spots on campus that you can even build into a social media carousel so that users can even click through and kind of get that visual experience. So whether you're doing that with locations or even staff members, teachers, whoever it might be, to put a face to kind of your institution and what you want to promote during this time, really look at your resources and think of ways that you might be able to take them outside of the box a little bit to keep that more personalized one-on-one feeling with parents during this time.
So now we'll be joining with Sarah, who is a PPC wizard, SEO. She'll be talking a little bit more about advertising that you would be doing, not social media side, so on the search side. So we'll pull her in now.
Kristen, can you hear me okay?
Hey, yes, I can hear you. Thank you for joining.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm going to see if I can turn my audio up a little bit. As Kristen mentioned, I manage SEO and PPC for our schools. So a lot of changes, of course, have been going on. Starting on the PPC side of things first, if you have ads running, even outside of Google for Facebook as well, it's really important right now for the landing page experience. So if you currently don't have a pop-up on your admissions page, I highly recommend that you create one. This is outside of the main COVID-19 pop-up that many schools do have on their site, which is pretty standard. I do recommend creating a separate pop-up on your admissions page, the main one, and also any sub-pages for like an inquire page, an application page, maybe like you have a separate financial aid page, whatever sub-pages you have, to have a special pop-up, as Darian and Kristen talked about earlier, that really ties back to that point of if your admissions team is still active during this time and has capacity, definitely highlight that. Highlighting like, hey, here we have an online inquiry form. Here's a link to our online inquiry form, and listing the contact information for your admissions team, whether that's a general admissions at school email domain, or if you want them reaching out to the admissions director in particular, highlighting that information and being as specific as possible to let parents know, hey, we're still here and you can still engage with us in the admissions process. So if you are, regardless of whether you're running ads or not, I still think that's very valuable, just so people know. But especially if you are running ads, as Darian mentioned, making sure that you're removing any call to actions, especially I know some of my schools, they had some spring open houses that were, originally scheduled in April and had to, of course, change things. If you have any virtual tour videos, definitely embed them on your site. If you have them uploaded to YouTube, you can embed them rather easily in Composer. It takes not even 5 minutes to do, and then you can have them permanently on that page. And then also as well, like outside of the virtual, let's say you don't have a virtual tour, that's fine. I will say video consumption is through the roof right now since everyone is at home. Everyone's consuming videos. I've seen some people, a friend of mine who hasn't been on Facebook for 6 years, like got back on because she's at home for a couple weeks, and parents are in the same, in the same boat, and, same thing with students as well. So even if you don't have, an official virtual tour video, you can still use day in the life videos. As Darian was mentioning earlier, even if they aren't brand new from 2020, you can still use any videos that you had from 2018, 2019, and maybe even earlier. It's not necessarily when the video was created. I know sometimes we talked about that actually at Final Site U during the social video assets. A lot of times we have this feeling of, I have to have a great video. And if you do have video assets that are a bit longer, you can certainly chunk those down as well and have those on your landing page. But certainly any video assets that you have, definitely recommend incorporating those as much as possible for your landing page. And even if you're promoting admissions and not promoting both summer camp and admissions, a lot of questions I get, should we promote all of our divisions if you're K through 12, middle and upper school? It really just depends. I would recommend keeping all of the ads running, especially if they're is a downward trend in like a certain division, so maybe your upper school really needs students, definitely keep those ads running. The cycle for parents for research is very long, so especially parents are at home right now. It's a perfect time that they are actually spending the time. Some parents, like they are working from home, some parents aren't. So regardless of the situation, people are on their computers and phones now more than ever, without a doubt, and they are researching things. For all of my clients across the board who are running PPC, I've actively been looking on it in Google Analytics, and the trends show that parents are still researching for summer camps, for boarding, for day schools across the board, variety of school types. Parents are definitely searching.
Now, I did see one question come in, and I'm not sure if it was intended for you or Darian, but I think that we could probably tackle it together here. Let me find it. So it says, how do you recommend grouping or promoting different classes? For example, all exercise and art classes that teachers are posting. So this one probably is a little more social media focused, but I feel like it could go either way. I think Darian had mentioned earlier on when she was with us about using carousel ads. I think that could be an interesting outlet if you did want to promote different classes. I know we've seen some schools on their virtual admissions pages actually giving a few example class schedules where you can maybe, speak to the benefits of different classes. So I think those are just a few ways you could do that, but I'm not sure, Sarah, from your perspective, maybe even SEO, if there's anything there that you would recommend.
Yeah, so I think for Google My Business more, and I know Daniel will have more to add since it does impact social a little bit more. But definitely for Google My Business, as we mentioned earlier, with uploading videos and images, now's a great time to do that, especially if you do have a COVID-19 update. You can upload your school logo, or you can update it with any videos and images. So if you have those different assets to use from your school community, would definitely recommend uploading those as well. Again, free to do. You can upload several of them, and it's just a nice personal touch versus a logo, but a logo is still great. I would recommend, for any update, making sure that there's at least some visual element, be it a video or a photo.
All right, so we'll see if we can add Darian back in really quick to address that one social media question we had. And then if there are any other questions you have as we wrap up, please feel free to send them our way. Hi, Darian.
Hey, Kristen.
Back in just really quick. I'm not sure if you caught that one question we had about promoting different classes, like art classes and things like that right now. I wanted to get your perspective as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think everything you said about the carousels, I definitely recommend doing that. Carousels are a great way to highlight a large number of things all in one post without having to kind of jumble it all together. So you can actually do that on both the organic and the paid side, but I would essentially find overarching categories to kind of group them in. So if that is arts, if it is physical activity, if it is study time, self-sustained reading, whatever you might be using now, find those categories and highlight them. And then I would also recommend making sure that there's somewhere on your site to link them to, or if the teachers are posting them somewhere, make sure you're linking users to wherever the teachers are posting them so that they can get more information if they need them.
Perfect. Thank you so much for answering that question. I think it's a good thing to think about because we're thinking a little broader, but thinking more granular, different classes and everything like that's really great. So thank you for hopping back on. I haven't seen anything else come through. I did see one person ask if we can save this to rewatch. We're going to try. I think we're learning along with you with remote working and everything like that. So we will try, but at the very least, it will be on our story for the next 24 hours, so you can go back and check it out there. But thank you, Darian, for joining us. Is there anything else you wanted to add in as you were watching over the last, 45 minutes?
I don't think so. I mean, I think we covered a lot. Just remember, everyone, if you need help, we're here. You can always message us for tips and advice, and we're always happy to answer.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining, and thank you to everyone who's watching. Like Darian said, you can feel free to reach out to us. We, as Final Site, we're running webinars really regularly, so you can feel free to head over to our website to check those out and different blogs we have going out. So we'd be happy to help in any way we can. So, all right, everyone have a great rest of your day. Thank you again, and we will talk soon next time we go live.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.